First and foremost, let's go Mets. You boys made us proud this season, and I am happy to be a Mets fan. Hot take today, New York Mets news, Instagram page. Started an uproar today with this one, talking about hot take. He'd rather have these two, Peter Alonso and Manea, instead of getting Soto. And of course, there was very mixed reviews on this topic here, which is funny because all the previous posts have been talking about we don't need Alonso, we don't need to overpay him. I very much disagree with that. So what is your take on this subject? I'm going to show you a little insight that I have where we should have no problem realistically getting all three. I know we are wishful thinking Mets fans, but this is a realistic ask. As we all know, last year we tried to get Mr. Carlos Correa. We agreed to pay his big contract, and the only thing that failed us was his physical. So let's talk about the money that's coming off the books. We have over $178 million. Let's round it up. I can't talk. $179 million coming off the book here. Now, this is just a salary that we have on the left-hand side. Players that were actually on our team, players that contributed. I still think that Mr. J.D. Martinez at $4.5 million was a steal. But you see Pete Alonso and Manea, they're $20.5 million and $14.5 million. Yes, they are due to make some substantial gains. But even with that being so, it's definitely not going to equate to the $30.8 million we were paying to not have Max Scherzer on our team, the $25 million we were paying to not have Verlander on our team, and you can see the various other dollars that we were paying to not have those people on our teams in James McCann, Navarez, and others. Wendell, we hate you. We will hate you for life. So, with that being said, how do we realistically think we can attain all three? Well, you can see here, starting off next year, we have substantially dropped in payroll. We was up well above the 300 millions. A lot of people were mad and upset with us. And you can see we are now below the 150 million mark coming into this season. Now, obviously, there are players who are going to go through arbitration and, request some increases in their salary. One who deservedly needs so is Mark Vientos and others. So let's say if we do that, we end up being at the 150 realm. But I think that Mr. Steve Cohen is going to float around the luxury tax number. He's going to have no problem paying players, but not going over that crazy 300 plus threshold. So we have $150 million to play with. So with that being said, we go back to what our legends are making here. We already know Pete Alonso produces every year. Yes, we was giving him a hard time towards the end of the season, but he certainly showed up in the postseason with his clutch home runs. And if you look at his stats for the 2024 season and you stack it up against every first baseman in MLB, there is no way in hell you can't tell me Pete Alonso is top 10, if not top 5 first baseman in the game. Also, it is tough to play in New York. Let's keep it real there. And Pete Alonso not only embraces the New York culture, he wants to play in it. He said he loves New York and he's willing to come back. So these are types of players, mentally, you got to be strong to play in New York. He's one of those guys. So the top first baseman in the league is being paid on an average per year basis is Bryce Harper and Freddie Freeman. Now, Bryce Harper is making $27.5 million buckaroonies. So let's say we gave Mr. Pete Alonso a $7 million increase. Now, yes, people are yelling, oh, we should give him 4 years. We should give him 5 years. We should give him 6 years. There's no way he's taking only 4 years. We could worry about that later. But let's talk about realistically adding to this payroll. Okay? So in order to keep Alonso around, we're going to have to flirt with that 27.5. I think easily you can give Pete Alonso $7 million more dollars. I mean, that equates to Omar Narvaez, who wasn't even on our damn team last year. And then Mr. Manea, if you look at all of the expert baseball platforms, they're all saying that he's going to make around $20 to $22 million a year. So let's say we give him another $7 million bump in a per year value. That's $14 million. We just said $178 million off the books. There's no way in God Green's damn earth that we do not think we can add $7 million, even if it ends up being a little more from Manea. So let's say between 14 and 18 million to keep two key pieces we want on this roster and still be able to float around the threshold that everybody's afraid of us hitting. Let's say we start at the 150 mark, you add 20 million, we're at 170. Then you got Mr. Juan Soto. And yes, Juan Soto is going to command a huge salary. We all know that. But he is still young. He is still a superstar. And he is still going to be able to perform in New York. We saw him for the Yankees this season, and he had his best season by far, hitting behind Judge and whatnot. So if we compare it to some other top players, the highest player paid in the league, that's not Ohtani. Let's be real. He got paid as a pitcher and a hitter. It's going to be Mr. Mookie Betts, and he's making about $36 million a year. Okay, we give Soto $40 million a year, a 10, 15-year contract, whatever the hell it has to be to make it happen. Let's do that. You add that $40 million a year to the 15, let's just round it up to 20 to keep Manea and Pete. And that's only 4 plus 2 carry the 1, $60 million. You're telling me we just shed $178 million off the books and we can't add $60 million to get Soto, Pete, and Manea here in New York? So that is very unrealistic. That is very achievable. That very much so can happen. And the Mets should be able to sign all three and still make another big additions to the bullpen that's needed. So let me know what your thoughts is. Let me know what you think. Is it realistic to make all three of these happen? I think so. I'm the Max Sports Attack, and I'm out.